Hi, I'm JC Polanco, and I'm CEO of the CLEO Inc., the Council on Legal Education Opportunity. Welcome to the CLEO Edge podcast. We're very excited to have you join us today. Today we have another amazing CLEO alum, a phenomenal attorney, the Deputy Executive Director of the ACLU of Maryland, fellow Fordham Law JD MBA, and just an incredible attorney. We're so happy to have with us Veronica Dunlap. Veronica, welcome to the CLEO Edge podcast. How are you today?
I'm well, JC. Thank you for having me on today. I'm happy to be here.
Well, first of all, not every day I get to meet another fellow Fordham Law JD MBA on the CLEO Edge podcast. You would think this was done by design.
Indeed, we are a rare breed.
Very rare, but I can't wait to talk to you a little more about what motivated you to get that dual degree. I know a lot of our students are thinking about it as well. But before we do, congratulations on your new role, Deputy Executive Director of the ACLU of Maryland. How's that going, Veronica?
It's wonderful, and thank you so much. I'm really happy to lead in the role that I am with the strategic planning and strategic implementation of the goals of the ACLU of Maryland. And I'm really also very happy to be at home. I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland, and this is a homecoming for me.
I know, and you're from the Baltimore region. How was that?
Well, growing up, I had a really unique experience growing up in Baltimore because I was very heavily into the arts. And so I was in a conservatory for dance. There were musicians all around and actors rehearsing in the hallways. It was a very unique childhood in Baltimore for me.
What's really interesting is how important the ACLU is in Maryland, right? It's right there where all the action is happening. You're seeing it firsthand. Veronica, what is the biggest issue right now impacting Americans in your perspective as an officer of the ACLU?
There has to be a balance between the rights of the people and public safety and like government sort of oversight and government responsibility. And what the ACLU of Maryland has put as a top priority is co-creating very thoughtful, meaningful public safety initiatives with the government. So we work very closely with lawmakers. We work very closely with grassroots organizations to learn what it is that they would like to see in their communities. People sometimes get the wrong idea that those who live in historically marginalized or with high crime rate communities don't care about the crime in their communities. They absolutely do. They just want to have a voice in that process. And so we partner with the lawmakers and with community organizations to make that happen.
Now, I find that very interesting, considering the trouble that many of the folks in Baltimore find themselves in. I know that being in the ACLU, you see a lot of these issues firsthand. In the last couple of years, what has been the biggest issue specifically in Baltimore that you're really focusing on right now?
Policing accountability is a very big issue in Baltimore right now, across the state of Maryland, actually. And there have been a number of laws, including Anton's Law, that was named in honor of a young man who was killed by police, to create accountability and transparency around police records and their disciplinary records in a way that keeps, police and their families safe, but also puts the public on notice, on alert that there are public safety officers out there who are not keeping the public very safe at all.
Do you see a lot of similarities in New York City and in Baltimore? I know that you have a long history of practicing and being involved in social justice movements here in New York City. Do you see any similarities between Baltimore and New York?
Absolutely. I think, when I worked at the National Action Network, I worked very closely with the team who was working on the Eric Garner case, trying to get justice for his family. And, a lot of what we were up against was the government working hard to protect the records of officers or people involved in that tragic incident. And so what I see in New York and what I see in Baltimore, what I see around the country is that there is a concerted and very strong movement to create accountability through transparency when it comes to law enforcement.
So interesting, Veronica. We know of your record here working on those issues in New York City, pretty extensive. I encourage all of you to look up Veronica and all her work. Thank you for all you do. I have to ask, Veronica, how could someone that has been a classically trained dancer decide to become an attorney? I mean, how does that happen? We know you love to dance, but I've never seen anything like it before. What motivated you to become an attorney?
It was really my father. My father was a factory worker in Baltimore. He stood up for the union and he was shop steward. He was an advocate. And, he really inspired me to take interest in my community and what was happening around me. And, even when I went on to become a professional dancer, many times there'd be contract negotiations within dance companies. And I'd sort of rally the dancers to say, hey, we deserve more pay or we deserve more breaks. And I found myself advocating in that space. And so when I began to wind down my dance career, I thought, I've gotten really good at contract negotiation and I find myself a strong advocate for others. I want to continue to do that just in the courtroom instead.
That's so cool. Now, I've been reading so much about your dancing. What was your favorite dance genre, if you will? I've always been interested in this because I have two left feet, Veronica. I can't dance for the life of me. So what was your favorite genre to participate?
I would say professionally, I really enjoyed dancing ballet. It just gave me a sense of freedom and lightness and elegance. But I have to say, post-professional career, I love to dance salsa. I mean, let a salsa song come on and I will burn up the floor.
Well, you got to teach me. A lot of folks think because just your name is Juan Carlos, you know how to dance salsa. I mean, that salsa has to be scarier to me than math is at times.
Your first lesson is on me.
Thanks so much for that. Yeah, when you're looking at winding down your dance career, and you're thinking about the law,
Yes.
You're introduced to CLEO. I gotta know. I have met with so many people since July, and they've shared with me their CLEO experience. I want to hear yours. Tell us how you got involved with CLEO, how CLEO motivated you to continue becoming an attorney, and tell us more about how you got involved.
Absolutely. My CLEO story, it was a wonderful journey. I was in my last year at George Washington University in DC, and I had been speaking to a pre-law counselor, and there had been like whispers of this program that just helped people get into schools and to improve their skills. And I looked into it on my own and applied. And I remember getting the letter in the mail when we used to get letters in the mail and just being so ecstatic that, I had been accepted into the CLEO program. And so I went to Florida, to Miami, actually, at FIU for 6 weeks with a group of about 30 other students. And we spent those 6 weeks studying, learning, meeting very accomplished attorneys, judges, touring the criminal justice system in Florida, and really making connections with one another that we still have to this day, attending weddings and christenings and things like that. But what I really found most helpful about CLEO was the confidence that I got by being in an environment where there are people who are from the same background that I was from, who looked like me, who didn't know any lawyers. And we had this up close and personal training from people who were deeply invested in our success. And for me, that turned out really well as I was valedictorian my time in CLEO.
I love it. I really do. I have to ask. So you go into Miami. You begin your time as a CLEO fellow, and I'm sure you must have met attorneys prior to walking in to CLEO, right?
I had not. I had not met any attorneys, and it was all very scary at first, the Socratic method and understanding the pathways in different careers to be a tax attorney or a judge or a professor. This was all very new. And to many of my colleagues there, it was a completely new experience. We didn't know any lawyers. And so we needed CLEO in that way too.
It's so exciting to hear because like you, I didn't know any attorneys either. I often tell the story. My mom used to clean an office for an attorney, but I never got to meet him. So I see and I speak to so many CLEO fellows who share that story with me, and it's always so exciting to hear. Now, one of the things that I'm really interested about your CLEO experience is, what advice do you have for, people wanting to be attorneys? They may not ever have met an attorney. They don't know how to go about it. Maybe they think it's out of their reach. What advice do you have for them? I'm sure that you're so wise that they'll definitely accept your advice right about now.
Yeah, and thank you for asking that question. I actually just returned from Boston yesterday. I was at Harvard for the National Black Pre-Law Conference and Law Fair, and I spent time speaking with students pretty much all day long on Saturday about their law school journey. And I would say, most importantly, meet people who are attorneys. Look for them. Look for programs like CLEO, learn about the application process. If there are no lawyers around you in your family, go find some, look up the bar associations in your community, in your city, and try to make connections, because you want to ask as many questions as possible. And you want to try and understand what it really means to take the law school journey,
And I'm sure Veronica also wants you to go to CLEOinc.org.
Yes.
And take a look at all of our amazing programs, including the programs that Veronica has participated in. In the last 54 years, Veronica, CLEO has had the opportunity to train over 30,000 folks from historically disadvantaged or underrepresented backgrounds become attorneys. It's such an exciting place to be part of, because we get to speak with folks like you who have actually gone through it and are now practicing and changing the world.
Oh, thank you. And I am so thankful for CLEO. I recommend so many people to the program all the time. Anytime I hear someone saying, oh, I have a mentee who's thinking about law school, I'm like, do they know about CLEO? Ask me, please.
That's great. That's great. I really want to thank you for that. Now, I'm gonna just reiterate the importance of making sure that if you don't know an attorney and you want to become an attorney, listen to Veronica. Go meet someone. Go do your best to find a mentor, and then come to our website, CLEOinc.org. It's exciting. So, Veronica, now we are about to go into our lightning round.
All right, let's do it.
Just a few questions, short answers, but I want to get our folks to know who Veronica is, and I think these are going to serve a good purpose. But before we do, I want to make sure we have that song. All right, Veronica, so here we go. 90s R&B or early 2000s hip-hop?
90s R&B.
Oh, I knew it. iPhone or Droid?
Droid.
Oh, yes. So far, so good. What's your favorite movie?
The Princess and the Frog.
Best social media platform?
Instagram.
I agree. Now, which is your favorite, or who is your favorite actor, male or female?
Angela Bassett.
Okay. Those are pretty good. Now, I have to ask this last one. Favorite color?
Purple.
Purple. You know what? I officially think we're twins, Veronica. I mean, we have matched pretty much. I didn't ask you your favorite law school because I know that would have been. Thanks so much. It's one of my favorite parts of the podcast is our lightning round. Thanks so much for that.
My pleasure.
Now, some of your fans have seen you before on Evangeline Mitchell's Becoming Black Lawyers.
Yes.
I am going to tell you this. I have been to so many different conferences since becoming CEO, and the entire planet knows of this documentary. And it's really exciting. I was at the National HBCU Pre-Law big conference that just passed, and Evangeline was leading there. And it was like the talk of the town. When I saw that you were in that documentary, you could only imagine my excitement. So tell us about, how did you get involved with this documentary? Tell us about your experience with it, and how has it changed your trajectory as an attorney?
Absolutely. And I'm so glad you were able to see it and experience it, especially the aftermath when people want to talk about it, because so many people can relate to that experience. It was 2018, and there was an open call, I think, on LinkedIn for attorneys to tell their stories, diverse attorneys to tell their stories of their law school process, their law school journey. And I think initially I didn't pick up the call. I said, oh, that looks interesting, but there's probably hundreds of people, submitting their stories. And one of my colleagues said, Veronica, you have a very unique story. I think you should tell it. And so I responded to the call from Evangeline, and I said, I would love to share my story. And later in 2018, probably in winter, I went to a studio in Brooklyn, like a black box, and there were maybe three people, like one guy working the light, one guy working the camera, and Evangeline asking questions. A very scaled down, experience, but it was enlightening for me because some of those things I had forgotten how it impacted me as an attorney, to sort of go through what I did in the law school experience and then come out of that successfully. And so with the film now winning about 30 awards, for best documentary and all other titles, I am really happy that people who are about to take the law school journey can see, that or on it already, they're not alone, and that there are people out there who want to support you, and you need to look for that support very early on in the journey.
That's so wonderful. It's so wonderful to hear from someone in the documentary about how it transpired, because it was so revolutionary. So many of us had never seen anything like it, and to hear and to hear how you actually went on LinkedIn and just started from there. Interesting how social media works, because LinkedIn is part of our social media universe, right? It's on a different level, but there's so much good that we can do with LinkedIn. You had an opportunity to be on a very popular documentary. What advice do you have for any of our people watching today about using professional platforms like LinkedIn?
Yeah, I would say start early, that when you start your LinkedIn profile, don't worry if it's not super populated with all of your accomplishments. They will grow, it will add up. And people who are professors or other people who are in the legal field understand that you're a student, and they're not judging, your short list of accomplishments in your LinkedIn profile. But start early and then start making connections. Again, look for your local bar association, look for professors who you admire, and look for people who are attorneys in your community, and try to make connections with them. Ask for informational interviews, but use it as a tool to expand your network and to grow your own professionalism.
I love the advice, and something that I use regularly. I'm here at CLEO because of LinkedIn, and I meet so many people that share their stories of how they were able to use that platform for success, and it's great to see that you did the same.
I did. Even my current role, I received a message from the recruiter through LinkedIn.
So that is great. What's next on the horizon for you, Veronica? You're accomplished. You're deputy executive director of the ACLU of Maryland. You're a documentary superstar. You have a long history in social justice here in New York City that we all know of. We always wonder what's next with Veronica. She's going to be going to Maryland soon, so we're going to lose her in the tri-state, but the DMV is going to gain a superstar.
You know what? I am really looking forward to the move. I'll be moving down there in about a month, because I'm ready to form those relationships, those really important relationships that can help us achieve the goals that we're trying to reach with the ACLU of Maryland. And what people will start to see is that even though it's the ACLU of Maryland, the work that we're doing there is so revolutionary that it has a national impact, and it can become the model for other ACLUs around the country. It truly is work that supports the community, that listens and acts in partnership. We don't stand in the front of the line and say, we know how to do this better than you. We say, what are your needs and how can we help? And let's be innovative and ambitious about getting it done.
Well, it's just so wonderful to hear, Veronica. I want to really thank you for being our guest at the CLEO Edge podcast. It's been great speaking with you, getting to know a little more about you, from your dancing to your origins in Baltimore. I'm just so happy that you're not a Baltimore Orioles fan.
Yankees for life.
Yankees for life. And I want to thank you again for coming on, and want to encourage you to continue participating with CLEO. We really look forward to working with you in the next few months, especially as we take our programs live again. Since the pandemic, a lot of our programs had to be virtual, especially that very famous, world-renowned Pre-Law Summer Institute that you participated in. We're going to go live in 2023. It's going to be our 55th year anniversary. Is what I called our Emerald anniversary, and I'm really excited. I'm happy that you were our guest on our podcast. You're one of our all-stars, so thank you so much, Veronica.
And thank you, JC. Congratulations on the new role. CLEO is so fortunate to have you at the helm. And the students, I'm just so excited for them to go through the CLEO journey, especially in person. I look forward to participating, and tell the students, find me on LinkedIn. I'm always happy to give some advice.
They'll definitely find you after watching this. I'll tell you that. Veronica, thank you so much. I hope you have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you again for watching another exciting episode of the CLEO Edge podcast. Look, we encourage you to go to our website, www.cleoinc.org. Take a look at some of the things we're working on, and take a look at our programs. You may be interested in them yourself. And as we move from virtual to live in 2023, every single dollar that is donated to CLEO matters. We really are in need of your support. We encourage your support, and just know that with your contribution, we work to change the world by diversifying the legal profession. And we want to make sure that our students have all the tools necessary. So please visit our website again, cleoinc.org, and donate today. Thank you very much.